Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is JJ. As this is my first video, let me quickly introduce myself. I have a CFWI rating. I did all of my flight training at Embry-Riddle, and I'm currently working on my master's degree at Lewis University. On this channel, I'm going to help you learn private pilot training in a simple and practical way so you can fly with confidence. I know private pilot training can feel overwhelming at first because there's a lot of new vocabulary, instruments, and procedures, right? But once you understand the why behind what you're doing, flying becomes way easier and a lot more enjoyable. And that's exactly what this channel is all about. So, who is this channel for? This channel is mainly for beginners. If it's your first time in a cockpit or you're starting to take training seriously and you feel lost sometimes, I made this for you. We are going to learn in a simple way, but we are also going to build professional habits from day one. On this channel, you will learn the basics of flying made simple, because I like to think about hard things simply and easy things deeply. And we'll cover private pilot maneuvers, the Cessna 172, cockpit habits, and instrument scanning. No fluff, just practical techniques that actually work. So, today's topic is ETCA. I'm gonna read just now and gonna explain it in detail later. So, well, I think you probably never heard of it before, but it's one of the most important concepts in flying. And the reason is simple. ETCA applies to every phase of flight and every level of training, not just private pilot, but all the way up. So my goal today is to make this concept simple and useful for you. ETCA is a simple first step method that helps you fly smoothly and stay in control. And if you've ever felt like you're chasing the airplane, right? Like you fix one thing and then everything else starts falling apart, ETCA is the exact solution for that. So ETCA stands for establish, trim, cross-check, and adjust. So step 1, establish non-pitch, bank, and power settings on the control instruments for each phase of flight. Step 2 is trim off control pressure. And step 3, cross-checking the performance instruments. And step 4 is adjusting the control instruments. This process works in every phase of flight. But wait, yeah. You guys don't know like what are the control instruments or performance instruments you're talking about, right? So let me explain these using this cockpit diagram here. Yeah, we have the traditional 6-pack and the digital version, which is the G1000, and which is the glass cockpit in the Cessna 172, which is pretty cool. And yeah, let me briefly like explain the indicators first. Okay, so this one this one is the airspeed indicator, yeah, and the 6-pack. And this one is the airspeed indicator on the G1000. It tells you your airspeed. And this one is the attitude indicator on the 6-pack. And this one is the attitude indicator on the G1000. So it tells you your aircraft's attitude, like pitch and bank. And this one is the altimeter on the 6-pack. And on the G1000 is over here. Okay, it tells you your altitude. And turn coordinator is here. And on the G1000 it's shown over here as a bar below the triangle. Let me zoom in real quick. Do you see it? Right? Yeah. Oh, but we call here on the G1000 as a slip and skid indicator. But the working pretty the same. So it tells you your rate of turn and if you're coordinated. So the ball and bar should be centered to be coordinated. Okay. And this one is the heading indicator on the six pack. And this one is also the heading indicator in the G1000, but we call this circle as HSI, which is horizontal situation indicator. This one tells you a lot, but both of them mainly tell you your heading. And finally, this one is a vertical speed indicator on the six pack, and on the G1000 it's over here, right? It tells you how fast you're climbing or descending, kind of like a trend showing where your altitude is going. Okay, and I have already drawn a circle over here. It's RPM, which is related to your power setting. When you add power with your throttle, then the RPM increases. So yeah, happy. Now we are ready to look at how ETCA works in detail. Let me change the color. Sorry. Airspeed indicator, attitude indicator, altimeter, and vertical speed indicator. These four indicators help you manage your pitch. Oh, I'm kind of bad. I'm bad at drawing with my mouse. Just please understand this situation happening. Well, okay. So these four instruments relates to pitch, and let me change the color. So turn coordinator, head indicator, and attitude indicator. Yeah. These help you manage your bank. Okay. Yes. And in ETCA, these five instruments, we call it, in ETCA is performance instruments, and attitude and RPM are your main control instruments. I'm gonna just say control here. Control. Alright, yeah, done. So these two for your main control instruments, and these five will be using as performance instruments in ETCA. And I'd like some. Let's do a quick example with a climb in Cessna 172. So step one was establish, right? Step one is establish non-pitch, bank, and power setting. So pitch, bank, and power setting are the control instruments for each phase of flight. Okay, so after takeoff, you establish a steady climb to your desired altitude. So first, you're gonna set full power, throttle all the way in, and then set pitch, raise like the nose to about 7 to 10 degrees. I'm gonna zoom in. Can you see it here? So this one is pitch degrees, about like 10 is at 10, and here's a 5. So your aiming is like between 5 and 10, or around like here. And this one for a 6-pack, I'm gonna show you the G1002 on the PFD. PFD is a primary flight display, and you have a MFD in the next mode. PFD is altitude indicators, then 10 is over here and 5 is here. So between the two, so should be 7.5. So what you're aiming is gonna be like need a pen, like around here to make your further climbing 72 knots. Okay. So, and what's the next? And keep the wings level using the altitude indicator. Yeah, because in a straight climb, wings level should be. But the goal here is not perfect airspeed yet. The goal is just stability first, okay? And if you set the attitude correctly, and everything else will usually fall into place. So during the establish step, the two main things you focus on are the attitude indicator and RPM to make sure you've set the correct power on the RPM, okay? And next step is trimming. In a Cessna 172, the trim wheel is usually between the seats, like pilot and co-pilot seats, or on the center console. So, and trimming is basically removing the muscle. So once you've set your pitch and power, you don't want to keep holding pressure on the yoke, right? So you trim the airplane until it can hold that climb attitude with minimal control pressure. I'll say, in other words, you want the aircraft to feel stable and hands off. Okay. Well, a good habit is just pitch first and trim second. Don't chase the trim, and trim just remove the pressure. And one important thing, here's one important thing is, if your EWC setting change, like you adjust the pitch or power, then you will need to retrim again. Okay, this is just very important for the ETCA steps. And step 3 is cross check. Oops, I'm gonna change my color. This is cross check for the step 3 and adjust for step 4. Okay. So step 3 is a cross check. Now that the airplane is established and trimmed, right? So this is where you conform your performance, and your main focus is still the attitude indicator, about like 80% of your scan, and the other will be just a 4, right, to make 100, right? But that doesn't mean that you stare at each instrument for an exact percentage. Like, I'm gonna look at 4% of it and then see the attitude indicator about like 80%, then go to like altimeter about like 4%. That doesn't mean what it really means is the attitude indicator stays your main reference, and everything else is just a quick check, like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. So it's more like okay, we're climbing, and is my airspeed good? Just checking the airspeed indicator. Am I around 72? And check the 72. Okay, then right back to attitude indicator. And is my heading staying where I want it? Then see the heading indicator. All right, we're on heading, we're on course. Then right back to attitude indicator. Then see is my altitude trend and vertical speed doing what I expect, and again check these instruments, then back to the attitude indicator. And performance instruments, the performance instruments do not replace the attitude indicator. Actually, they just conform what it's telling you. So, right? So be careful. And step 4 is adjustment. If the performance isn't where you want it, don't chase needles. The key is just small inputs. Okay, please don't over control. Make small corrections back on the control instruments, and like attitude for pitch and bang, and RPM for power. Then after you adjust, you trim again and repeat the cross check. What I'm saying is, that's ETCA. So establish, trim, cross check, adjust, right? So you're gonna establish some setting here, and then goes to trimming to reduce your muscle or pressure. Then cross check in the performance instruments, like performance instrument, to check in, verify it. If there's something wrong with it, then just adjust and go to establish again to the correct settings, and retrim it again and re-cross check again and readjust again. Just like you keep cycling through it until you're stable and on target. Okay. And what else? Oh, yeah. Yeah, now here's the part. Here's the part. Where a lot of students mess up. Not because they don't know ETCA, but because of scanning errors. So there are three common ones. First is fixation. That's when you stare at one instrument and stop flying the attitude. For example, you keep staring at the airspeed trying to hold 72 knots, and without realizing it, your pitch slowly drifts and your climb falls apart. And second is omission. That's when you accidentally skip an instrument in your scan. So for example, you forget to check heading for a few seconds, and now you're 10 degrees off course without even noticing. And third is emphasis, and that's when you over-focus on one instrument and start chasing it. For example, you see the VSI drop from plus 700 to plus 500, and you immediately pull the nose up, like yanking. Then your airspeed drops and everything starts getting unstable. Okay, so be careful. So the rule is simple: just don't chase performance instruments. Don't chase the performance instruments. Okay, use them to conform only, and always return to attitude and care. Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah. Okay. So ETCA isn't something you master on your first flight, of course. This is just a habit. The biggest benefit of ETCA is that it prevents you from chasing the airplane. And instead of constantly reacting to every little change, you start flying in a calm and predictable workflow. And once you build that habit, flying becomes smoother, easier, and way less stressful, really. So the best way to learn it is study it on the ground first, apply it in the air with your instructor, and repeat it until it becomes automatic. Just start with simple, yeah. Start simple, and then apply it to more complex phases of flight, because the process stays the same. All right. And next we are going to apply ETCA to 4 fundamental private pilot maneuvers, which are a straight level flight and lever turns and climbs and descents. And I will show you exactly which instruments to prioritize and how to build a smooth scan without getting overwhelmed. All right, that's it for today, actually. And if you want, just drop a comment below and tell me what part of flying feels the hardest right now, because I will build future videos around that. Yes. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.